Hello Tenno, Zelp here, and today we're gonna talk about Gara. So I managed to play around with her a little bit earlier and I decided to make a video talking about her abilities and share with you what I found out about her. Hopefully this video is gonna help you to understand her a little bit better and also help you plan your builds for her even before actually getting your hands on her. So let's get started. Gara's passive is called Glint. When standing under bright light, Gara has the chance to blind enemies within 12 meters for 10 seconds. This blind is very similar to Excalibur's blind and it could open enemies to melee finisher attacks. Now right off the bat you can see that this Warframe synergizes really well in near range, considering that 12 meters is not very far, and also considering that melee finishers is only going to help with melee attacks. It's not going to increase your damage with range attacks unless you're counting certain weapons like the glaives. I could not seem to find a limit to how much enemies could be blind at the same time. However, in a group sometimes one of the enemy is not affected, which leaves me to believe that it is caused by the enemy not having a line of sight of you, probably being blocked by another enemy. The first ability is called Shattered Lash. It's basically summoning a really long glass sword, and you could choose to either stab straight forward or swipe it from left to right in a 180-degree arc. The base damage of this ability is 800 damage, and at max rank it could go up to 10 meters. Enemies within 0.75 meter radius of that glass sword will receive damage and get knocked down. The base damage is distributed between impact, puncher, and slash equally. That damage can also be increased by melee mods like damage multiplier mods, for example steel charge and pressure point. It can also be increased by elemental damage mod, physical damage mods, and also your power strength. Only the length of the glass sword is affected by ability range, and this ability has innate punch through. Now let's talk about things that is not stated in Wiki about the first ability. So first thing is, this is my melee weapon and I have viral on. So we're going to test this first ability on the heavy gunners. So let's summon 8 of them. And then we'll put them paused. And also, by the way, this is the maximum level that I could summon at the moment. Enemy at level 80. This is so weird. It feels so weird. Oh, I forgot to press simulate. Damn it. Okay, simulate. And let's see. So the first thing that is not mentioned in Wiki is that if you were to stab, sorry, that's a swipe. Okay, if you were to swipe, you actually deal a little bit less damage than if you were to stab. So you can see 241 damage, and when I swipe I do 143 damage. Alright, and the next thing that I want to talk to you about is that the elements that you put in is going to affect the damage type that you do. So for example, just now I have viral shown to you, and if I were to remove that and put in a shocking touch, so again the numbers here is still the same, it's just that the damage type is different now. So now I'm doing corrosive. Now okay, the number that I remember last was 143 on a swipe. So now I'm going to swipe and let's see how much damage you do. There you go, 374 if not mistaken. Let's just double check on that. Yep, 374. So besides having the power to change or manipulate the damage type, you can also include something pretty interesting, like for example if you were to put in where is it, these are like my new mods. For example, if you have blast on, your first ability is gonna act a little bit like the Sonic Core. So in case you guys don't know what happens when you mod blast on the Sonic Core, let me show you. Okay, so what will happen is that, let's just make this a little bit more hilarious. So what will happen is that this will happen. Do you see that? Okay, let's see that again. Okay, and when you swipe, this will happen. So yeah, interesting, right? Another thing you might want to take note is that the first ability does not proc. However, due to the base damage being so high, if you mod it correctly, it could actually do a lot of damage, and you can literally sweep the floor with this ability. Gara's second ability is called Splinter Stone, and she basically strips off her armor of glass and making the shards go around her, and whenever enemies come within range, they'll take damage and also push back slightly. The damage dealt is 250 damage, however this damage is not revealed to us of its type. This ability could be cast on allies, yourself, and also enemies. If this ability is cast on allies or yourself, you will be taking a reduced damage of 70%. If it's cast on enemies, the enemy will be taking increased damage of 35%. The reduced damage, however, is capped at 90%, and although you cannot cast this ability on the same target twice at the same time, you could use this on multiple targets. This ability actually reminds me a lot of Naza's Warding Halo, and just like Naza's Warding Halo, you could actually also cast it on your Sentinel. So you can cast one on your Sentinel and another one on yourself, making you do double the damage. So like for example, you can see more ticks coming out because of that, and you can just push them away. This ability can also break boxes around you, and sometimes it also breaks the explosive boxes and also those liquid nitrogen thingy, which could be really annoying. Now, but I really like this ability because it gets the job done. It protects you. So it's really easy to reach the 90% damage reduction cap with a simple intensify, and then if you combo it with a melee weapon that could block 85% of the damage, you're going to be really tough to take down. So for example, if the enemy is doing 1000 damage per hit on you, if you have your second ability capped at 90% damage reduction, it's only going to do 100 damage on you. If you have a melee weapon that could reduce that by another 85%, then he's only going to do like what, 15 damage on you. So let me show you an example. Over here we have a level 80 heavy gunner, and this is how fast I would die. Now I'm going to use the Shattering Storm, and also I'm going to block. And now this is how fast I'm gonna die. I don't want to get too close because it's gonna get blinded, but you can imagine in a real situation when you fight and you go close to him and he gets blinded, and you could finish him off. Holy crap. Or that happens because you push him off the cliff. The third ability is called Spectral Rage, and it basically creates a circle of mirrors that will attract enemies to go into it and attack the mirrors from the inside. Whenever a mirror were to get damage and it breaks, it will deal damage to that target, about 800 damage. And whenever half of the total numbers of mirrors were to break, it will collapse and deal 1500 damage to all enemies within range. Spectral Rage has a duration of 22 seconds, and the number of mirrors is affected by ability range. So the more range you have, the more mirrors you will gain. To be honest, I feel like this ability is very questionable. Even Wiki does not know all the details, like for example the health of each mirror. However, for this part where it needs to know how many mirrors have to break, I did manage to count. It's exactly half of the total mirrors that it has. So by default, let's say it has 12 mirrors. Whenever 6 of the mirrors were to break, the entire thing will collapse. If you have more mirrors than half of that, when it breaks, then it collapses. There's also things like the damage type that it's doing is not clear, so there's really very little to work on. And upon playing this ability many times, I feel like it's used more like a beacon to attract enemies instead of using it to tank or to deal damage. Now, some of the good points about the third ability is that you could cast it as far as you want, and you don't even need to have any range mods to do this. And also against certain enemies, like for example, let me just cast it over there first. For example, let's say butchers. Because the mirrors are constantly moving, the butchers might have problems trying to catch up, so you see them miss a lot. sometimes when you see a hit, is actually the wrong one, as in the one they're targeting, they actually miss, but they're actually hitting the one that they are not aiming. Another example is ancient healers. So let's see how this. So you realize that they miss a lot as well because they just can't keep up. Even if they use their arms, they'll still miss. When it comes to heavy gunners, it's a different story. They have hit scan weapons and they have range, and they can bring down the mirrors really easily. Now there's a very weird synergy that I found out by accident between the second and the third ability, which is kind of weird because I feel like it might not be a bug, considering that it's kind of hard to make this into a bug. It feels like it might be intended. Anyway, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So over here we have this Grenier dog thing. Let me just cast my third O there because he runs really fast and I don't want him to run out that fast. Okay, so he's trapped inside. Now when you pay attention, when I use my shard on him, it's dealing 100 damage per tick. Now we just need to wait for him to somehow manage to break one mirror. And what will happen is that the moment he breaks one mirror, there you go, somehow because he's so close to the mirror, it seems like there are shards on the mirror that went on his body and is causing him to take more damage per tick out of his second ability. So you see that? So this is something really interesting. It's not written on wiki, and it took me a really long time to just to figure out what the hell is happening. Now it actually works on heavy gunners as well. I managed to pull it off, but then it's really hard to put off considering that they don't go close enough to the mirrors to break it and adapt those shards. Now since I do not have all the mods, I would think that if you have narrow-minded and the mirrors become really close, you can actually pull it off easily even with a heavy gunner. So for those with a maxed out narrow-minded, do try this and definitely let me know at the comments how it goes. The fourth ability is called Mass Vitrify, and what it basically does is it expands this molten glass and covers the enemies. If the enemy is being affected by this molten glass, he will slowly slow down and eventually stop moving at his spot. So basically that molten glass has hardened and he couldn't move. Now during that state where he is frozen for about 16 seconds by default, he will gain 1.5 damage multiplier, and if the molten glass, the outer ring, were to explode, and you could explode it by using your first ability to attack it, it will deal 600 explosion damage outwards. As the ring expands, it drains energy, but it also makes you invulnerable. Now Gara's fourth ability is not without flaws. If you expand it too big, like for example over here, if you expand it too big in a terrain where there's ups and downs, you're gonna leave all these gaps and enemies can actually push through it or shoot you from within those gaps. However, if you are within the same flat plane, enemies cannot shoot you. However, you can shoot them. So your attacks can go through your own wall, but their attacks cannot go through yours. On top of that, they themselves cannot push through the walls. So this means that you are safe from range attacks and also melee attacks. That is provided that you have a good wall technique. So one of the ways that I would recommend you to play is, if you are defending something, make a smaller wall. If you can make a smaller wall, nothing can push through, and unlike Frost's Snow Globe, which is damage dependent, this is duration dependent. So it will hold up in really high levels with really high damage. However, you just need to pay attention to your duration. You could refresh it and just recast it without getting a single hit. So this is actually really good if your position is well placed. Now this is one way of playing in a form of defense. Another way of you could actually play is in the form of debuffing or CCing. So you go close to them and you use it and basically turn them into stones. Now this, it could be offensive because before this they were not affected by my passive, but right now they are affected by my passive. That means during the time that they are frozen, they could get affected by my passive, and then you can do, you can actually do finishers on them. There you go. Now the angle is kind of important, but yeah, once you get the angle right, you can actually do finishers on them. Also, your 4th ability, explosion damage, is affected by your melee weapon mods. So again, similar to the first ability, exactly the same. The elemental damage mods, the damage multiplier mods, and also physical damage mods is going to add up to that damage. Now other things I've also tested, like condition overload does not help. Faction mods will not help your ability as well. If you have melee combos, let's say you hit to 1.5 and use the ability, it's not going to increase the damage as well. And also shattering impact is not going to reduce the enemy's armor. With that said, if you were to play this frame without a melee weapon, I don't know what the hell you're doing. So as a conclusion, I find that Gara is a very good melee-ish Warframe. I do not have a lot of the mods, so I cannot really test everything out and tell you guys like what's the best build. And normally I don't really do that in my channel. However, since I'm gonna show you a quick demonstration of her abilities, I just want to show you what I have on. So I put on Energy Siphon. Since damage is not really an issue here because I'll be doing finishers to kill the heavy gunners that we're about to fight. And then I try to just be as tanky as possible with these 3 mods here. I think if you have that, what is it called, guard reflex, I think that would be really good in this situation, because yeah, because whenever you block, you're gonna get that whole 98.5% kind of thing, damage reduction. So that is really good, and that is what's gonna keep me alive actually. And yeah, so intensify is definitely a must because you want to hit that sweet 90% damage reduction, and then everything else is pretty much just like there. Again, with these 2 mods, if I got it maxed out, I think I would do a lot better. But yeah, but this is just what I decided to go on. There's actually things that I want to try, like for example the narrow-minded thing that I told you about, and also I wanted to try with natural talent, but I don't have that either. So yeah, so this is just what I compromise and go with. The secondary and primary doesn't really matter because it's not the weapons that I'm actually going to use to fight. I'm going to use my melee, and my melee is modded this way. Again, I don't have all the mods, and even the good mods I couldn't max it because I don't have enough endo or I don't have enough credits. So I went with this setup. It's not really necessary considering that again I'm doing finisher. So the damage is really a little bit extra here. In fact, if given a choice, I would prefer more attack speed or maybe some kind of the okay, so I have reach. Yeah, you know what, I don't really have much to go with. Maybe this one. Okay, so let's see. Let's fight with 8 heavy gunners. They are all level 80. So let's hope I survive this. So first thing I want to do is use my second ability, cast it on myself. I'm not gonna have a sentinel, so I'm not gonna do that dual double second ability thing. Then I'm gonna cast my mirror to try and get them to, oh shit, it's too far. Okay, I realized that I'm not equipped my melee weapon, so that is a problem. Then I'm gonna cast a small circle and kill the one inside. Now this part is a little bit tricky. There you go. I just waited a little while to make sure that they get my passive and then kill them. Okay, so next one, I could actually just stand right here, and the moment they get my passive, I could actually, there you go, I could actually come out and kill them like that. Okay, now let me just come back in for safety, use this one to attract them, and then make another new safety ball. Oh crap, I don't have enough energy, so this is going to be interesting. Okay, so this is the part where, oh nice. So what happened was that I have rage on, so the moment I ran out of energy, I just have to wait to get a little bit of health damage, and then I will have my energy back. So now this guy is like, he wants to come in, but I'm just staying close to him so that, there you go, he get blind, and then I could kill him. Oh shit, let's see. Uh oh, I don't have my oh crap, I don't have my second. It wear off, so that is a problem. Come on passive, I need you passive. Shit, where's my passive? Oh yeah, passive came out. So yeah, that is what you can do. Now if there's bombards, it's a different story. So yeah, bombards is a different story. If there's nullifier though, it's not that bad, because nullifiers cannot nullify your wall. So I'm actually not really sure if they can pass through the wall, but I've seen the bubble touching the wall and like overlaying the wall, and the wall did not break. So you could still protect whatever you're protecting with your 4th ability against even nullifiers. So I do not have nullifier scan yet, so I don't have it to test, but that is so far the things that I could share with you with Gara. Hopefully it's good and that you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, so I'm working hard trying to get the rest of the mods that I'm missing and more items and stuff like that. I'm currently at rank 10, so that is kind of fast, I guess. Okay, so quick announcement, I haven't done the Plains of Eidolons. I haven't even stepped foot in the Plains of Eidolons yet. The whole reason being is because my Twitch account has some problem. I changed my phone number, I can't get the token, so I cannot log into my Twitch. So thinking of you guys, I decided to not go to the Plains, so that when I do go in, I could stream, and whoever that missed out in any achievements, you can get all the achievements loot from my stream. So yeah, so I'm actually holding out and waiting for my account to get solved, and then we could start doing it. And Xandipants, he I talked to him and he said that he's going to help me when I go into the Plains. So it's going to be a lot more fast-paced. It's no longer like you go in and then you figure out like what to do and where to go and what's what. So he'll be my guide, he'll be telling me, so it's going to be a lot faster, and the main objective is to get those achievements. So definitely drop by and just like chill, I guess. Also, there will be a glyph giveaway on the stream and also on YouTube. So how that's going to work, now the stream one will be announced during the stream. However, for YouTube is really easy. You just need to be a subscriber and you need to comment on my video. So as long as you're a subscriber, for every 100 subscriber that I get from now, I will pick at random 10 of the people that commented in my videos, and then they will get the glyph. So it's really that simple. You just need to subscribe and then comment, hopefully you will get chosen and you'll get the glyph. Now my glyph is really not that advanced, it's nothing really fancy. I'm not a really good designer, but it does kind of represents my hard work and my brand, I guess. So it's something. It's definitely something to me, and I want those that would appreciate it to have it, and if you don't want it but you are chosen, you could choose not to get it so that someone else that might want it more could have it. Okay, so that's pretty much it, what I want to say. So do remember, subscribe, like, and again, if you want to see more of this kind of content, now because I have early access, I might be able to give you guys a little bit more of those first impression stuff instead of how it used to be. But still keep in mind that I have like a few part-time jobs, so I will try my best, guys. I will try my best. So yeah, have a pleasant day. Like, comment, bell, subscribe. Bye bye.